I share God's will for happiness for me. This is an interesting one because we don't directly, completely, always, right away comprehend what this is referring to. Just the fact that it is talking about the fact that pain has no meaning and it has no value whatsoever and never gets you anything. Now, it's actually referring to the sense of how much we, say, subconsciously or bring about certain kind of whiny, childish things that happen so that we can get our way in specific fashions. So it's like throwing a tantrum. You might, especially if you're new to A Course in Miracles, you most likely don't realize that this is occurring. And it really does happen all the time, essentially, everywhere. We just don't really recognize that we have these tactics of our mind, that we throw these specific ways in which we talk, the ways that we deal with people, and especially if they're very familiar people, like your husband or wife or your child, and you see that even if you have been around children and toddlers, that they learn specific ways of phrasing or how to deal with you to get their way, right? They're going to start, that's my son. He has this fake cry that somewhere he learned that works to get what he wants. No matter how many times it doesn't work to get what he wants, he still thinks it works to get what he wants. And I still don't respond to it. And somehow, even just one time, responding to it one time, now he has this whole, it's actually called the pigeon effect, I believe. And we believe that the occurrence of the action in which we take a place, which we do, brings about the actual effect of what it does. Of course, psychologically, we actually can influence somebody's decision by how we respond to them, right? And so they can then do something for us or give something to us or whatever it might be, or serve us or be more compassionate with us. Oh, you poor baby. And in so many different ways. But if we see anything happening, we try and train our minds. We're like, oh, last time this worked and last time that worked. And some of us mystics think that we have superhuman abilities. Oh, last time it rained, I thought like this, and I stopped the rain when I thought like that. and we actually believe that these things, which they might, regardless of what you believe or not, I'm just talking about more so the pigeon effect, that it does bring about that occurrence. And we would do it endlessly to prove that one time that it happened again and again and again, even though it never happens again. So it's a rather interesting thing because we have this training where even if it was a child, I always point back here for subconscious mind. We always have this, as a child, we're trained ourselves to respond in a certain fashion and to, say, put up a fit to get what we want out of somebody. Or you have a new relationship, you're going to put up a fuss or do something that, or exaggerate a little bit, come on, just a little bit, at least exaggerate a little bit to get what you want. And it is rather interesting that we think that the outcome of what it is that we want is actually what we want. So we think that the pain, causing ourselves suffering, actually is what we want to then get what we want. We don't realize that we're so trained in it. Most of our lives is this subconscious stuff where we are acting out of it and actually feeling pain every day, having problems because our minds and powers and bodies are so conditioned to making that happen. Now we think it's real. Now we actually believe that we are actually having this pain, actually having this difficulty, actually struggling here so that we can get the result. We don't realize that this is essentially everything that we do. Everything that we do. So I'm taking it to a pretty extreme level. But that's what this is talking about, where it says there really is no pain. It doesn't exist at all. Pain isn't something that you do to yourself. You're making a decision. Now, of course, you've made this decision over and over and over and over. You don't even know that it's a decision anymore. You don't even know that it's real. It's totally on autopilot, completely happening without your decision. It's just like, oh, now when I want to, say, rest, I'm going to make myself excruciatingly tired so that I have an excuse to rest. We don't realize this is the under no laws but God experience, and that we are actually performing miracles, making our lives a struggle and hardships so that we can rest, sleep, not do the work that we need to work. And so we're always battling when we want to, hey, I want to work more. Let's say I want to work more. Now you're battling with this miracle that you designed as tiredness and sleepiness and sore muscles and back pain and knee pain and all this stuff in which you're conditioned to actually believing that it is real. Now, of course, you're justified, and by this point, you're screwed. You're like, so much happening, we really feel that it's actually happening. So when you're completely out of, say, the conditioning of your design, your world, and no longer see any of this pain as real, you literally are unstoppable, even by this thing that people call tiredness and sleepiness and pain that we say is something that the body needs. Even hunger is a development and a design in which we as infants designed to believe that is real. This entire reality, this entire world is not real, just as much as pain is not real. It's not just pain that's not real, it's this entire reality. So you're believing it and completely conditioned in it and not realizing that the majority of what is happening is what is referred to as subconscious. It's unaware to your conscious decisions, and that you are unaware of your own reality. That's pretty intense, right? So of course we're in here now making this decision for happiness with God, and that's a big part of it. A big part of this lesson is that when you're making this decision and you're saying these things to yourself, I share God's will for happiness for me, and I accept it as my function now. It's certainty. Certainty is necessary. I always find it interesting about prayer is that people pray and then pray again about the same subject, asking and asking and asking, and as if it needs to be asked again, as if just like calling someone in from the other room. You only keep calling them if you think they didn't hear you or are not going to answer you, right? So when you keep praying for something, keep asking for something, you think God doesn't hear you or is not going to answer you. So what's the point of keep praying? Right? You pray once, you ask once with absolute certainty. You know that they're, say, coming into the other room. They're coming, right? They're coming into the other room where you're calling them. So just like that, you pray once, you know it's happening. You ask for it's happening, right? Or it's not happening. You see what I'm saying? Now, of course, it might have there's different variables according to with prayer and everything, a timing and different things about your life, and of course you might want something outrageous that needs a little more setup, but that's a whole nother story. But certainty of knowing that in the same way you want the happiness in which God wants for you, This is an absolute fact. Therefore, there's no question.